Good morning, everyone. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master. We are here with day 61 of Coffee and MTG, your morning talk show. Oh, whether it's the morning, afternoon, or evening, doesn't matter. Grab your cup of magic, because on this talk show, we do Q&A about Magic the Gathering and follow that up with deck list review. Because if you need clarity with your deck list, make it into a competitive deck. If you've got problems you want them solved to answers, this is what the show is for. This is the show for you. So grab your cup of magic. Whether doesn't matter if it's coffee, tea, Slurpee, Frappuccino, grab it and let's have a great conversation of Magic today. Of course, if you're just joining the show for the first time, we do this every single weekday on twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. And we do, of course, from Monday to Friday, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're watching on the replay and you want to join the show live, come on down and become part of the conversation. We got Kyoka 620 was already here before even the show was even live. We got Monster CC. You know, it's coffee. That's right. It's coffee time. It's coffee time for me. That's for sure. I love my coffee. Clever Boy 31. Morning Lynch 5x5. Morning Nick. What about if my deck is jank and I want it to be more janky? Well, just let me know. Let me know. I've never been asked that question before, but you know what? I'm here to help you. So you just leave that in the comment when you submit your list. Thomas, also, hello, Nikachu. Hello, Thomas. Good morning. Good morning, Monster CC. Good day every day. That is a very positive username. Good morning. And hello. Good morning, Lord Magicus. So as we are getting people, everyone's on their way, I'm going to edit the category. We are here. We are talking about Magic the Gathering. We are not a podcast. It's not technically a podcast. You can't find me on Spotify. Only on Twitch and YouTube. That's it. That's the only place you're going to find me of. Make it all one-ofs? Well, now we're just playing the pony format Commander. I mean, there's plenty of ways of making that. Well, I mean, okay, the only competitive, I think the only competitive deck that we can make as a one-ofs is, what's the companion? What's the all one-ofs companion? I can't remember. The Otter. Lutri. Lutri's banned in Commander, but not in Modern. Lutri's very playable in Modern and in Standard. This is Standard playable as well. None of these are banned. Can't say that they're good, but they're not banned. I bet even from even a Commander perspective, is this really an auto include? When Lutri enters the battlefield, if you cast it, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. It seems hard to pull off. Maybe not. Like, you get a lot of mana in Commander. I guess you play your spell, then you cast Lutri and copy the thing. I don't know. There are some decks that don't have enough instants and sorceries to actually make use of this card. In fact, I'm a mono blue Merfolk deck. I play a mono blue Merfolk deck in Commander. I can't play this thing. It's hybrid mana, which I hear is just a whole conversation in itself in the realm of Commander. But I don't know anything about that personally. I don't know anything about it. Good morning, Johnny SOS. Lutri burn with miracle cards. That is very interesting. I don't know about the miracle card part, but I never thought about the burn part. Interesting. But you have like one-ofs of Goblin Guide and Eidolon and stuff, so it's weird. I played Canadian Highlander last night. I would be very interested in formats like this if they made them competitive. I think the point system is, so if anyone isn't familiar with the point system in Canadian Highlander, I'm sure, and they have I think they have different variations of names. You get to play with all the cards, including reserve list cards, which we know is a problem because as time goes on, the price of reserve list cards keep going up. But they have a point system to determine how much of any particular point you're allowed to have in your deck. And so there's a lot of reserve list cards that have, like, you have access to 10 points, I think. So if a card is too good, it's given like a point, like a certain, it's allocated a certain amount of points. So you can only play these cards so long as you don't go over your 10-point gap. I mean, maybe people can give examples of what things are worth in Canadian Highlander. because I don't know. I sincerely do not know the point system. Oh, Mikey J flexing the new chubby meatball emote, the funniest of meatballs, the chubby meatball emote. This is supposed to be. I try to get the best what face from her. There's another chubby meatball one coming on the way. Oh, and Dexter Johnson, thank you very much for subscribing for 2 months in a row. Thank you very much, Dexter Johnson. Always part of the stream team, the morning fam, the magical morning coffee and MTG fam. Thank you very much for subscribing 2 months in a row, Dexter. So this is the intro. Oh, Black Lotus. All right, here we go. So Black Lotus is worth 7 points. So if you can afford a Black Lotus, you're like burning up your entire account of the 10. Like it's 10 points, right? So you're allowed like 10 points, and you're basically blowing your budget on Black Lotus. And there are a lot of non-reserved list cards that are worth points. Things like Mana Drain and True Name Nemesis. So you're only allowed to play these cards so long as it's within your 10-point budget. I think it's a very interesting format. I would love to see this on a competitive stage. Although I'm sure like if it got competitive, like Black Lotus might move to like 10 points or something when somebody discovers a deck that like can break some of these cards. But I think there's a lot of room to adjust the point system if certain cards ended up being more broken than others. Do people outside of Canada, Canadian Highlander, play the format? I'm assuming you mean like people outside of Canada, which I believe probably. The answer to that is probably. Good morning, up past the dawn. Love your streaming time. Perfect time to end work. Greetings from Germany. It's good for you, and it's also good for a lot of people who are on lunch break in North America. So it seems like a pretty ideal time for a lot of people. Hello, Pessimist Scientist. Good morning, Mikey J. How's the chat hanging, everybody? Oh, it's going great, Mike the Mailman. I think we're off to a really good morning. Good morning, Real NE5. And here seems to be the rules. But where is it? What do we got here? Clever. Or Clever. Oh, I got Clever Boy also introduced. So there's actually, if you want to know more about, whoops. If you want to know more about Canadian Highlanders, a few people already posted the link to the intro to the rules. What is Highlander? Canadian Highlander is a 100-card singleton format, but 1v1, which I'm very impressed with. I'm actually quite fascinated by that part of it. I've played a decent chunk of 1v1 Commander on Magic the Gathering Online. I absolutely love it. I actually think it's a lot of fun. Each deck must contain a minimum of 100 cards and contain no more than any one of any given card. Well, we understood that from the singleton part. It said singleton here. And whatever. So the following cards are banned: anti-cards, dexterity cards like Chaos Orb, conspiracies, silver bordered cards, and Shah Razad. And I don't know, a little bit of the history here, and blah blah blah. So very interesting for anyone who's interested in that format. I have to stick to sort of like Wizards supported formats, but like whatever. It's a very interesting format. How long do you think it will be until Arena will let you buy wild cards? It's a good question. I have no idea. I'm leaning to never. That's what I'm leaning to. I'm leaning to never. I think that might disrupt the economy in some way. I think they want to encourage you to draft, and I think they want to encourage you to buy boosters for one reason or another. And they also, I think, here's another aspect to this. I don't think Wizards necessarily wants you to encourage people to learn that they should buy singles. It's not synergetic with their paper business strategy. Like their entire paper business strategy is about you buying boxes of cards or buying packs. That's their strategy. I shouldn't say they don't sell you singles, because they're sort of doing it right now with these secret layer things. but those are like specialty products, usually inflated in price. But I don't think they really want to get people to buy singles necessarily, like in the form of wild cards. They want you to get used to buying either bundled priced products of like cards that you know that you're going to get, or through boosters, because that's synergetic with their paper strategy, because you don't buy singles necessarily from Wizards. Is there any particular single card you can buy from, like, I don't, like, non-specialty? I don't think so. There's like nothing that they offer. Basically everything is sort of cheap but in a bundle of cards, or if you're buying like some sort of secret layer, it's still like a bundle of cards, but they're specialty and they're like super promos and they're quite expensive, but they're not like the original cards. But great question. The Johnny SOS just subscribed. Thank you very much for joining the wave, Johnny. The Johnny SOS, thank you very much for subscribing. Welcome to the Coffee and MTG. Welcome to Nikachu MTG. Uh, 5x5 says they'll just milk the packs for more. That's basically how it is. They want to encourage people to buy the packs. That's like, because that's their core of their business, and they make more money off of that, basically. Like, how do you price the wild cards, really? It seems difficult unless you priced it so expensive that it was equal to cracking the value of the packs. I think we would be closer to them giving subscription services to a God account. I would think it would be closer to that than for them to crack boosters. But I'm still not even sure about that, because again, there are not many, like, Wizards of the Coast doesn't allow like proxy cards or anything like that when you enter an event. Not to say like renting cards in paper is all done through proxies. There are some services that let you rent paper cards, but like there's no, Wizards of the Coast doesn't offer any fee for you to play any cards that you want in paper. So I don't know if they want to incorporate that even online, even though that seems like the smart idea, right? Like, I think it would be a good idea for Wizards of the Coast. You play a flat rate every single month and you have access to all the cards, and at that point you don't even care if anything gets banned. But maybe that defeats the purpose of making this a like collectible card game, essentially. Like technical difficulties. Let me tape some stuff down before my entire streaming setup falls apart. Good morning, Cactusovishmuk. Good morning, Mr. Goo. Oh, Lonely Isotope. What's up, fam? I went 5-0 with Mono Blue Merfolk yesterday. Congratulations, Lonely Isotope. It's awesome. It's also good to know that Mono Blue Merfolk still has what it takes to be competitive in today's metagame. And personally, I probably should explore Mono Blue Merfolk a little bit more than I actually have. Will Ether Vial be reprinted? I want the new art from the promos in foil. You're not likely to get that promo art reprinted. That's probably going to be exclusive to the promo. I think if they reprint Ether Vial, it's going to be either going to be a new art outside of that promo, because that, like, it defeats the promo to reprint that promo art. But, well, no, that's not entirely true. They've done this before. I mean, they've done it with like Mana Crypt. They've done it with like a lot of Judge foils. There is some chance that because you're talking about the, here, let me find what everyone's talking. So just so that everyone's on the same page, let me get the PTQ Ether Vial up on the screen. So here's the promo Ether Vial, which doesn't exist on the market yet because I think, well, basically because we're all quarantined and there's like coronavirus took care of that. So this isn't on the market yet, but like this is the new Ether Vial that's coming out. Great art, gorgeous art. So, but my feeling is that this is going to be exclusive to this promo. They could reprint it, but not entirely likely. Will they reprint Ether Vial eventually? Absolutely. They will reprint Ether Vial for Eternity. And there's actually, with all the Aether Vial decks coming up right now, and maybe they could even anticipate it with the goblins that they've been printing, that maybe Aether Vial is going to be reprinted within the next year. Because like we've got a lot of Aether Vial decks. Like Death and Taxes is actually coming back. It's doing pretty well. We got humans, merfolk, goblins, elementals, which is very underrated right now, but could be on the rise. So there's a lot of Aether Vial decks in the metagame. Mike the Mailman asks, is there a deck / archetype in Modern that you like that is just a few cards away aside from merfolk? What do you mean, Mike the Mailman? What do you mean by that? Like, give me a little bit of clarification on this. Is there a deck / archetype in Modern that you like that is just a few cards away aside from merfolk? Oh, you mean like there's a deck I want to play, but it's just a few cards off from being really good? And it would take me away from merfolk. I think the only other archetype that there's not a lot Simic Merfolk, Nick says. There's not really a lot of archetypes in Modern that grab my attention. I feel like, oh, I wish I played this deck or something like that. Not really. Maybe when I was getting into the format Modern, I was fascinated with Blue Moon. So that might be the closest thing. I might want to play like a Blue Moon deck. I like the idea. I like control. I do like control. But, oh, do you know what? Wizards. I know Merfolk has a lot of wizards. And the only thing stopping me from playing wizards in Modern is that there's like no way of pushing damage. There's just no way of pushing damage. I don't know. Maybe I should try a Vial Wizards deck. And maybe fairies, but fairies is missing a lot of cards. I think for like a legitimate tribal fairies deck that's more focused on creatures than on spells and interaction, like we see in most fairies decks or decks that they call themselves fairies. I wouldn't mind playing something like fairies because they operate very much at flash speed. They have evasion. There's just not enough fairies that exist, or it's just harder to build the deck. But I mean, I'd be up for something like that. I heard the territories play a variant of Canadian Highlander where the winner is allowed to behead the loser. Is that true? I don't know anything about that. Arena already lets you buy wild cards, just not directly. Yes, well, that's the point. So the idea is if you bought them directly, that it would be cheaper than a booster, in theory, because you're only buying a part of the booster, or maybe not. Like it would be cheaper than the average cost of all the boosters that you spend. But I think they would just rather make you buy the damn boosters. And Lord Magica says a rare wild card costs $6, and he's actually done the math on he's calculated the average cost of decks on Arena and also the cost of the wild cards. Clever Boy 31, how long do you think before Arena's economy caves in on itself? Probably never, because there is no economy. Money goes in and money doesn't come out. That's not an economy. So like this is just how Arena is. It's free to play technically, but practically speaking, you have to spend money on it. It's not that expensive. Like all things considered, if the average cost of a deck is about $100, sometimes more, sometimes less, I think it's within a lot of players' budget, even if their deck gets banned. Like it's just that ideally their deck doesn't get banned too often. And certainly it doesn't feel good when it gets banned. It would be nice if they balanced out the rare and mythic wildcard slot. There's a lot of people who that's might be the only problem with the economy, that it seems to, okay, some people have it differently. Some people have a lot of wild cards and no rares. Some people have a lot of rares, no wild cards, but they have millions of commons and uncommons. It would be nice if there was some way you can dissolve all your commons and uncommons and then turn them into a rare or a mythic, like dusting, like Hearthstone does, because like those are the things that are a commodity to people. But aside from that, I think the Arena economy is fine. Really, the problem is just the management of the power level and the management of the bans on Arena, in my opinion. In my opinion. Where did I go? Oh, Thoughtsy's new art is wonderful. Let's go check that out. Let's go check that out. Where is Mythic Spoiler? Mythic Spoiler is my favorite place to view spoilers. It's actually really cool. Yeah, I saw the new where's the new Thoughtseize? Oh yeah, Oubliette is also being reprinted, and it's really funny because I don't really remember how Oubliette used to be worded, but this is a fucking weird wording for a card. When Oubliette enters the battlefield, target creature phases out until Oubliette leaves the battlefield. Tap that creature as it phases in this way. What the fuck? What the hell is this card? This is such a bizarre word. Is this anything close to the original card? I want to know what the original card said. Oh, we're here. I'm already on Scryfall. Oh, so you. Yeah, that's the new one. I want to see the old one. Masters Edition? Was there a Masters Edition? Okay. Let's read this. Let's unpack what it used to say. When Oubliette comes into play, remove target creature and all auras attached to it from the game. So it's like that is like phasing because it's supposed to take everything. Note the number and kind of counters that were on that creature. Holy shit. When Oubliette leaves play, return the removed card to play under its owner's control tapped. Why is it tapped? Why is that necessary? With the noted number and kind of counters on it. If you do, return the removed aura cards to play under their owner's control attached to that permanent. Okay, so it is a phasing card. So how about, let's go back in time to Arabian Nights. Select a creature in play when Oubliette is cast. Okay. It's probably worded incorrectly. That creature is considered out of play as long as Oubliette is in play. Hence, the creature cannot be the target of spells and cannot receive damage. Use special powers, attack, or defend. All counters and enchantments on the creature remain, but are also out of play. If Oubliette is removed, creature returns to play tapped. Why does it come into play tapped? What weird claw? Whatever. This new card. This wording is very good. This is good. It probably explains it better too, because that's what phasing does, right? So I'm assuming in the past it said exile. Did it say exile here? Remove target creature. Well, they just say remove it from the game, but they don't specifically say exile in this online version of Oubliette. This is a real botched up card, that's for sure. This is the stupidest card to see wide scale popularity because of Pauper. This is not the OG. Well, I went to the OG. You can we went through the history of Oubliette, and anyway, I think this new version is very clean because how phasing works is it takes the entire card and just leaves it, and it just adds that when it phases back in, it has to come into play tapped. It already went through a phase once. Interesting. It went to OG to phasing to exile to phasing. Unbelievable. Why would they move it? Why would they change it from phasing to exile when clearly phasing worked? Like, that's what makes sense. Dr. Katz says, original card. Let's get some of these comments here. Original card was even more confusing. Yeah, I get it. Well, the whole part of, like... Oops, no, you can stay here. The whole part of... like, there's a lot of irrelevant text on here. Hence, the creature cannot be the target of spells and cannot receive damage, use special powers, attack, or defend. Did they not have removed from the game at this point? Or did they not? Maybe Arabian Nights is too early for exile effects. Maybe it's too early. Not sure how this isn't confusing. Well, the whole hence creature cannot be the target of spell. Well, there's a lot of extra words on it. All counters and enchantments on the creature remain, but are also out of play. This is all. Yeah, what the hell are special powers? Maybe they were going to compete with Pokemon at the time. What the hell? What the hell are special powers? They used to call it Bury for exile. Really? I thought that, no, I thought Bury was destroy target creature without regeneration. Is Bury exile? I don't think Bury, I need some clarification on this, because I'm pretty sure Bury was like destroy without being able to regenerate. Yeah, I was pretty sure about that. I'm a little old school myself, I would like to think. No, Bury is not exile. Exile was removed from the game. Or I don't know the earliest case of actually thing getting exiled. A lot of old cards are spelling out things that have keywords and shortcuts for. Yeah, I know. Just like how we now have, instead of put X cards into your graveyard, now we just call it mill. They continue to do that. Yeah, very funny that they said note the number of counters on a card, and it's so relevant today. Like, that is so relevant. They made this card like, what, 1990, somewhere between 1993 and 1995, and now we've got things like lifelink counters and trample counters and first strike counters and so many different types of counters. That is so relevant to the today, like the part of Magic today. So relevant today. I don't get why the point of this card is busted. It's a very rare effect to have in Pauper. That's the point of it, Ugly Hood Rat. It's like a very, very rare sort of card. Anyway, it's like, it's a Pauper card. It's very Pauper relevant for anyone playing black. Wrath of God's OG wording is bury all creatures. That's correct. There we go. That's a good example of what bury is. So Wrath of God, modern day tax, is just destroy all creatures. They can't be regenerated. No one's going to get regenerated from the Wrath of God. And now if we go to the super OG, where's an OG? Where is... there we go. Bury all creatures. Bury them. Oh, you can't see. Sorry. Bury all creatures, says the Wrath of God. Or this is a better image. There we go. So yeah, that's just how it is. So Oubliette, so how on? We just okay. Now let's get back to like the point that we were going, like we were out here for. We were here to see Thoughtseize. So if new thought got a little sidetracked there for a little second. So new Thoughtseize. Here's the old Thoughteize. Oh, they're going to use. Oh, they're using the super OG art here. I think. You know what? I don't like actually when Wizards does this. I think the Lorwyn art makes it more collectible and more unique. So they're using like the I can't remember who's I can't read the artist here, but like this is a very iconic art, very popular and super OG art. I'm actually disappointed that they're reprinting this art, because I really think that they should allow certain arts to be collectible, and by reprinting it, you just crush the value of the original art. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this. Should the art be like the good art be reprinted so that everyone has access to it? Or should certain arts be worth more and therefore other arts are worth less, and those cards would be cheaper? Because make no mistake, in a way, actually, by reprinting this art, this will be more desirable. This will cost more money. This will cost more money. All right, so some people are like, you know what? I don't have this art. I want this art. Now I can afford it. So now maybe they are doing it because they have an even more interesting art. Hey, you're supposed to show me the art when I like put my cursor over you. Show me the art. Where's the new art? We have to look at it through here. Okay, we can see it through here. That's fine. So Thoughtseize is the it's a very, so you see it on the left here, pretty cool Thoughtseize art with this fairy stealing a puzzle piece from the mind of this, I don't know, 3D puzzle person. Very cool full art, very nice colors, very distinct image. I love actually everything about this Thoughtseize. It's really cool, and this is going to be a very unique art going into the future. Like, this will definitely be a desirable Thoughtseize. To be brutally fair, I actually think like all the Thoughtseize arts are good. I have nothing against the Theros one at all. I think the Theros art is underrated, in my opinion. Greedy puzzle person probably deserved it. Probably. I hate the Theros art. I think it's underrated. I don't think it's that bad. I think when you compare it to this art, it looks bad. But I think the Theros art in its own right is actually pretty good. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been so much worse. Like, I don't think this image is that bad. I think it's well composed. I know exactly what's going on. It has a lot of detail. The image isn't like some, like I can recognize this image from across the table. But, you know, when you compare it to this one just looks better. That's all. It was very large shoes to fill. Nikachu, why do you think other card gamers say MTG art sucks? Yu-Gi-Oh community says this the most. How can they say such things? I can relate. I did not like I had a hard time getting into Magic because of the art. Is this how I spell Dothy? Let's just look up any Dothy card. So I started playing the game at a time where like this is all the cards that I saw. And frankly, I think this all looks like garbage. Like, I don't know what's going on. Look at that Dothy horror. This is just disgusting. Or I don't know how to put it. It's like lame, boring, and I don't like it. I just don't like it. It's not interesting to me. Then there's like Dothy. I didn't like any of these sort of cards. And then you could go like, where's Raging Goblin? I couldn't really get into any of this stuff. What the hell? Where's the original Raging Goblin? Like, I don't really like this art. Okay, where's the OG Raging Goblin? I think actually OG Raging Goblin's on to it. Look at this one on the left here. I don't know. I don't like this art. I'm not a fan of any of this stuff. Oh, there's the one I remember from my childhood. Raging Goblin, this thing. Actually, images were actually pretty well composed, but I still don't like it overall in the grand scheme of things. Do you want Brian Snudd? You've done a lot of greater stuff in the future. But I had a big problem getting into the game, and mind you, I come from like this Pokemon trading card game background where everything is really bright and cute and beautiful. So I definitely was comparing it to that, and like the reason I got into Magic was because of the Thieving Magpie. Look at that. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, look at my magpie. Beautiful. Oh, look how cute this thing is. It's adorable. So this actually was a really defining reason I actually got into the game. But I think a lot of the modern day art for Magic is a lot better. I wish they let the artists like use their style. And then, by the way, that's not to say that there isn't good art. Like there's like some great art in the past. Like look at this. I think this art is great. So there's some very good art in the past, but like it was very seldom. It was like, in my opinion, it was very hit or miss. It was not consistent at all, in my opinion. What's Yu-Gi-Oh? I'm being serious. It's another trading card game, as Jason Dog says. So Tuxdev likes the old arts way more. I'm certain that, you know, this is how a lot of people feel because this is the I think there's a lot of people that were attracted to the game because of the old art. You know, just how like I got attracted to a certain art. I think most people got into Magic, especially if you're an OG player. You got attracted to that older art, but mostly I most definitely was not. I feel the same way about Secret Lair Goblin Lackey is the only art I like of that card. Look at Goblin Lackey. So, oh yeah. You don't like the Masters one? I actually think the Masters one is good. I mean, of course, I like the Goblin Lackey. It's the cartoony stuff. See, I don't like this one on the right. This one looks just stupid. But I like the one on the left. So this older art, like I just don't like the art direction of the past. I just don't like it. I like a lot of the newer stuff. And the one on the left here, this Goblin Lackey from the Secret Lair, this is definitely going to come down to taste. If it's too cutie and cartoony for you, then it's just not going to be for you. But this is going to be for a lot of people, I think, especially within the trading card game domain. All right, so I think it's a good time that we now pivot to the deck list review. So if you have any decks that you want some clarity on, you want to get if you want get some information, please submit them, and we go do some deck list review. If you got a deck list that you need improved, let me know. Also, please let me know if it's budget. It helps me a lot because I might start suggesting like $100 cards and stuff like that. All right, already coming in. We got Mr. Goo, or sorry, Chris Plays More. Modern Abzan. Let's take a look at this. Scavenging Ooze, Tarmogoyf, Voice of Resurgence, interesting choice. Eternal Witness, Night of the Reliquary, Luris, and Tireless Tracker. Kaya. Kaya is actually really underrated. This is a pretty good card because you exile non-land permanents 1 mana or less, and you have a means of gaining life, and you can attack the graveyard. So I think for 3 mana, underrated. I don't know if it's super great, but it is definitely underrated. Gideon, Nihilive, Zendikar, a fine planeswalker. Honestly, I think the power level of Modern has superseded this card, but still a good card. And Vraska, Golgari Queen. I like this card a lot because you can destroy basically any non-land permanent. I mean, format. It's basically like, yeah, destroy target permanent and with upside. So we got Cling. Can I get larger in here? There we go. Cling to Dust, pretty good card these days. 3 Inquisition, 2 Path to Exile, 3 Thoughtseize, 2 Abrupt Decay, 4 2 Dismember, 4 Ichard Wellspring. Enters the battlefield, or leaves the battlefield, draw a card. What the hell are we doing here? Tireless Tracker, Luris. I don't get this card. Let's look a little bit further to see what's the point. So 1 Horizon Canopy, Nurturing Peatland, that's fine. Silent Clearing, I actually like that. Oh, you can use all of the Horizon lands, basically. Deafening Silence. Each player can't cast more than 1 non-creature spell each turn, that's fine. 2 Path to Exile, 1 Thoughtseize, 3 Damping Sphere, 2 Rest in Peace, 1 Kaya, 3 Night of Autumn. Okay, so I'll tell you what. Okay, first off, I don't really believe in this card. I don't. So you gotta tell me. You gotta let me know. Chris Plays More. What is the deal with the Ichor Wellspring? Is there a purpose for this card? Because this is a big waste of time on turn 2, and I don't know if it is of any use to you later. Oh, you may sacrifice another permanent. If you do, gain 1 life and draw a card. But you don't have to sacrifice another permanent. Okay, I will tell you this much. Okay, I have a better idea than this. Play Stoneforge Mystic. A, you still draw a card because you get the sword or the Batter Skull that you got, and after you put it in play, the Stoneforge Mystic is useless, so you can like sacrifice it to Vraska to draw a card. Now, I understand you're not going to get the double value, but overall, Ichor Wellspring, I think for a deck like Abzan, you got to spend your mana very well. You got to remember, you're a clunky deck. I don't know at what turn you have available to just, take a turn off and play this thing. You're better off playing a Tarmogoyf or something like that. Are we running Tarmogoyf? Yeah, of course we're running Tarmogoyf. We're running 4 Tarmogoyf. And I think like more or less attrition-based decks are more how do I put it? You're in good shape to play a Stoneforge Mystic type of deck because you've got removal. You can put the Batter Skull in play, and then if there's anything big enough that's in your way, I mean, you just like blow it up or something like that. So anyway, I would actually prefer to see the Stoneforge Mystic package. So you could get rid of, for example, these 4 Ichard Wellspring, put 4 Stoneforge Mystic. You gotta like get rid of maybe 2 other cards. Could be Voice of Resurgence, although I think this card is fine. But your picks could be somewhere between Voice of Resurgence, Eternal Witness, maybe one of these Planeswalkers. You only have to get rid of 2 cards, to be honest. That's all you have to get rid of. Yeah, Stoneforge Mystic, I think, is built for this sort of deck, and it's just that no one's really... more people are on the Jund train if you're going to be playing Black-Green X, so no one's explored Stoneforge Mystic in this sort of build. Because you only need to find... You only have to cut 2 random cards. Maybe 1 Gideon ally of Zendikar. If Kaya's not doing enough, cut the Kaya, although I sort of like Kaya. I love Tireless Tracker, great card. I love Luris, actually, in this deck. Love it. You can bring back Stoneforge Mystic if you have to. Love Knight of the Relic. Okay, Knight of the Reliquary might be a cut, because this is clunky. It's pretty clunky, and I don't think you can do a lot with... it's just a random big creature. Not really impressive these days. Might be good, might not. I'm not sure. I don't mind Voice of Resurgence. For 2 mana, you make it very difficult for your opponent to play at instant speed. You have to make your opponents now have to play very honest with this thing. So that would be my only switch. Remove the Ichor Wellspring, which is clunky, not doing very much for you. Put the Stoneforge Mystic in, and then you have to, with playtesting, determine what's the 2 weak links in your deck, and then those can be a Sword and Batterskull. So hope that was of some value, and I hope that's going to help you. It would be nice to see Abzan again in Modern. So good luck with that, Chris Plays More. All right, now we got Mr. Goo. Mr. Goo says, hello, my Tezzerator control deck. Reviewed it 3 weeks ago. Didn't work out, so I dropped the control aspect. It is just a Tezzerator deck now. The Spellskites main board work out well. They protect my Planeswalkers from Assassin's Trophy and Bolts. Okay. The Languish are for my local meta against many aggro decks. All right, let's go check this out. Tezzerator. Okay, 2 Spellskite. Which, if you're more of a Tezzerator deck, I can get behind Spellskite, because all the Tezzerets have some good synergy with artifacts. Karn the Great Creator, only 1? Probably you could use more than 1 of that in this deck. Okay, so Tezzeret, Agent of Bolus. I got to reread these all. So it says -1 target artifact becomes a 5/5 artifact creature. So, your Spellskite can get a lot bigger out of nowhere. And you can look at the top 5 cards of your library, reveal an artifact card from among them, put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Yeah, I mean, this is good, and the ultimate is pretty good. They lose X life, and you gain X life, for X is the number of artifacts you control. Tezzeret the Seeker, very busted card, actually. Hard to cast, but when you do, untap 2 target artifacts, search your library for an artifact card, convert mana cost, whatever, and then all your artifacts can go in for the kill. And Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge, also very expensive, but it says creatures and Planeswalker spells you cast have affinity for artifacts. That's interesting. Deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of artifacts you control. You gain X life. That's the +2 ability. -3 is return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. That's not very impressive, in my opinion. And exile the top 10 cards of your library. So the Tezzerator is just to basically deal X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of artifacts you control, and you gain X life. That's not bad, though. You know what? Honestly, that's like a win condition itself if you have enough of them out. So we have Fatal Push, 3 Inquisition of Kozilek, 3 Whir of Invention, 2 Languish. Languish kills your Spellskite, but I guess there's some situations where you can make it bigger. Target artifact becomes a 5/5 artifact creature until end of turn. Welding Jar, Executioner's Capsule, Nihil Spellbomb, Pithing Needle, Witching Well, Mind Stone. You probably want more of these. I'm serious. This is your ramp spell. Going turn 4 Tezzeret, Agent of Bolus is where you want to be. Getting Tezzeret the Seeker out on turn 4 is where you want to be. Turn 3 Karn the Great Creator, that's where you want to be. I think actually you want more Mind Stones in this deck. Pentad Prism. Well, Pentad Prism will serve a similar function, right? All right, so Pentad Prism is good. Ratchet Bomb. Sun Droplet, okay. Throne of Geth. Torpor Orb, 2 Ensnaring Bridge, Bottled Cloister. So maybe, I guess, if you want more Mind Stones, I don't know what you remove. Because you're pretty tight on cards, unless you get rid of some of these. But I think these are fine. Well, the Languish is a bit weird, and I'll tell you why. Because you're an Ensnaring Bridge deck. So I don't know how necessary this card is to the deck, but maybe you can let me know how good this is working out for you, because there are ways of do you have, where is the, there's a card that you have protection, you have hexproof or something like that, and all your permanents have hexproof. What's the card, everyone, that like gives you hexproof? I do not remember. Witchbane Orb? I think it's Witchbane Orb. Yeah, 4 mana. When it enters the battlefield, oh, it's only you have hexproof, not your permanents. So this is not what I was thinking about, because I'm trying to figure out how to protect the ensnaring bridge once it's out. Because the problem with ensnaring bridge is your opponent could just destroy it, and then it doesn't matter anymore. But whatever. Okay, maybe Languish as a backup is fine. Ideally, I would want more Mind Stones. We have Academy Runes, Blast Zone, Creeping Tar Pit. Honestly, I love these sort of decks, like a bunch of 1-ofs and stuff. It makes the games play out really creatively, and especially because you have Whir. I would say you should have one more Whir of Invention, though, so you can maximize on all these cards that you can find, because it's a tutor, right? Oh, but you have other tutors, I guess. You have Tezzeret the Seeker. But this, like, okay, whatever. You have enough tutors. Academy Runes, Blast Zone, Creeping Tar Pit, Dark Slick Shores, Darksteel Citadel, Field of Ruin, Fluid Delta, Snowland, Sideboard, Engineer Explosives, Welding Jar, 2 Dispel, Expertate, Grafdigger's Cage, Nihil Spellbomb, 2 Pithing Needle, 3 Damping Sphere, Liquid Metal Coating, Unmoored Ego, Witchbane Orb. I think the deck is good. I would rather... Now, I don't know the numbers, but I think I would rather have more Karn the Great Creators in the deck, so that you have just more access to like your artifacts in the sideboard. But I haven't played the deck to know for sure if like that's exactly where you want to be, because you have a lot of tutors anyway. Like, these are all tutors, but if any of these particular Tezzerets, like, you have too many of them, I would fill in more Karn the Great Creators. I actually have nothing against the rest of this list. I think it's a lot better list than what was presented like last week. This is a lot more focused and has a very similar feel to Whir Prison, except that you're winning with Tezzeret Planeswalkers. So I don't really have any feedback, aside from maybe I want one more Karn, because there's still a lot of decks that play like artifacts, and you can just shut them down with like Karn the Great Creator on the spot. And again, you get the artifact package from the sideboard. But I don't know how well it works with the curve, because you already have like a pretty high curve of Planeswalkers. Anyway, awesome deck. I don't really have anything to say. Good stuff, and good luck with it, Mr. Goo. We have many 1/1 creatures in my local meta, and I can't get rid of my hand fast enough for Ensnaring Bridge. The Emrys get bolted all the time. Okay. What is Tron? It is a deck that assembles 3 lands with Urza's Mine, Urza's Tower, Urza's Power Plant. And individually, they only add 1 colorless mana, but altogether they can add 7 mana, and then you can start playing gigantic spells. Yes, it's the combination of colorless creatures and artifacts. So, okay, so now moving on. Here's my budget Magic the Gathering Online Sister Veto by Balada. Aha! Martyr of Sands deck. Okay, so we have Martyr of Sands, Soul Warden, Soul's Attendant, Speaker of Heavens. Well, I've never heard of this card. Oh, it's new. Vigilance, Lifelink. Tap, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Activate this ability only if you have at least 7 life, more than your starting life total, and only at any time you can cast a sorcery. All right, then. Veto Thorn of Dusk Rose. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. Fatal Push, Kaya's Guile. This card is really good. This card might be very underrated. Like, very, very underrated. Very underrated in Modern. Path to Exile. Cave of Koilos. So this is budget, as you said. Lingering Souls, Night Whisper, draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. Spectral Possession. Honor the Pure. White creatures you control get +1/+1. Is this necessary, really? Burnt and Forge Tender, Damping Sphere, Duress, Sorceress, Spyglass, Sundering Growth. Yeah, whatever. Tormod's Crypt, Zealous Persecution. All right, so 2 cards that I find very suspicious in this list is Honor the Pure and Night's Whisperer. Well, first off, you don't get much out of this card. You're literally just getting a card, but you like burn a lot of tempo playing this card. You draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life, but you also lost a card playing Night's Whisper, so you're only up 1 more card than you started with. I would rather you just played rather you just play more Kaya's Guiles, because this is like 2 cards in one anyway. You gain the life, or you create a token, or you make your opponent sacrifice a creature, or you exile your opponent's graveyard, or some crap like that. Nick had well, this Honor the Pure is legal because it has no religious connotation to it. That's the deal. That's oh, actually, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna go there, but you know, I can see what you mean. Okay, so and like this like Lord effect, I don't think is just necessary. I know you don't even have that many creatures. That's another problem. You could, yeah, you just don't have creatures, and none of them have like lifelink on their own. So it's not even that relevant to like buff up all your creatures. So I would definitely get rid of the Honor of the Pure, and I would also definitely get rid of Night's Whisperer. I would go up on Spectral Procession if you wanted to. I would go up on Kaya's Guile. I'd go up on the Fatal Push. I would also just add some more creatures, right? You need to reveal white cards, though. So, like, maybe Fatal Push, you can't have too many of those, or you're going to have bad synergy. And, like, this is bad synergy with that anyway. These are all white cards, so that's fine. I have a feeling Speaker of the Heavens is not that good, but I understand you're a budget deck, so we'll live here. Let's see. Yeah, you got to get rid of the Honor of the Pure and the Night's Whisper. Go up definitely at least 2 more Kaya's Guiles. What is like a Soul Sister Martyr of Sands card cheap that should be in this deck? I feel like something is missing in here. Intangible Virtue. Oh, Auriok Champion, maybe in the main deck. That would be sick, actually. But is it cheap? Creature tokens you control. Well, this is creature tokens. We don't. It's not a tokens deck. There's a lot of non-tokens in this deck. Okay, how much is Auriok Champion? Because like this card is a bomb. So it's like a Soul Sister, but you put in the main deck, and it's a main deck hoser against a lot of decks. It's a main deck hoser for a lot of decks. So like how expensive is this card? It costs money. If you could afford this, I would play this, but it costs money. This is a budget deck. I don't know how budget's supposed to be. It's pretty cheap. It's like under $100. Well, okay, hold on. You should have more Martyr of Sands, because that's how you're going to pull this thing off. You know, like gaining life. Okay, so you should have. Okay, let's count this out. We have these 8 cards have to leave. At the very least, I want 2 more Kaya's Guile. We have 6 cards left. 2 more Martyr of Sands. We have 4 cards left. And then, I don't know, 4 more of some random creature. I think there should be like a little bit more creatures in this deck. How many lands? We have 19 lands. So we're pretty low on lands, but that's fine if the curve is really low, which it is. It's pretty low curve. Or maybe we should have like 2 more lands in the deck. Because actually the curve is not that low. We've got like all these Kaya's Guiles and Lingering Souls and Spectral Processions. But I guess that was the point of Night's Whisper. But that's just a waste of time in Modern. So maybe 2 more lands, go to 21. Hopefully lands that gain you life. And then, I don't know, 2 more creatures. Spend some money on the Auriok Champion. I guess that would be fine. Proclamation of Rebirth. Well, this is getting expensive because now we have a lot of 3-drops in this deck. But anyway, I think that's the best I can do. Add 2 more make those adjustments, add 2 more lands, go to 21 so you can reliably cast your 3-drops and stuff. And then I think another card that used to get played in decks like this was Squadron Hawk, I think. Because I would say it's a bit clunky these days, but Squadron Hawk, enters the battle. You play it, you get 3 cards in your hand, and then with Martyr of Sands, you reveal your hand. You have like a million white cards. So anyway, that's the best I can do. And I hope that's valuable. I hope it sets you in the right direction. I know for sure Honor of the Pure and Night's Whisper is just... I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough. I don't think you have enough creatures to... Well, I could be wrong. I really could be wrong. Maybe you have enough creatures with Lingering Souls and Spectral Procession. If you remove this and the deck sucks, just put it back in. But I would rather you were trying to win through, I don't know, Veto, Thorn of Dusk, Rose. Yeah, maybe do you have enough creatures? And you should just get rid of this stupid Night's Whisperer? Whatever. I'll just leave it at this. Make the changes, and if it just sucks, just remove the Night's Whisper and put the Honor of the Pure back. It's a difficult deck to give feedback on because I know these are very synergy-based decks. They're usually not a beatdown deck, and I'm sort of familiar with the synergy that Martyr of Sands has. Why not a Janny's Pridemate? Because that is just better in a more beatdown strategy. If you look at the historic list, that's more of like what they're trying to do, but this is not like a pure life gain. This is not like a beatdown deck. It's almost like a pseudo control deck sort of thing. Just gain a bunch of life. All right, so moving on. Let's go to 5x5. Aggro Wizards, budget-ish. I've not played it though, just a concept. Okay. Like the idea of wizards. So blue-red wizards, flying haste. Whenever you cast an instant or a sorcery spell, wizards you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. That is very, very powerful. It's all your creatures. Fairy Seer is a wizard. Get to Lava Runner, Harbinger of the Tides, Merfolk Trickster, Siren Storm Tamer, Storm Chaser Mage, Viashino Pyromancer, Island, Mountain, Spire Bluff Canal, Steam Vents, Sulphur Falls, Lightning Bolt, Wizards Lightning, sideboard, Ashok, Damping Sphere, Leyline of Combustion, which is very interesting, Relic, Fencer, Wizard's Retort. So the only thing that's just from just looking at it, get to Lava Runner, there's got to be something better. What is Soul Scar Mage? Is that a wizard? Can't remember. I think Soul Scar Mage is a wizard. Yeah, it's a wizard. This is just better. It doesn't have haste, but the fact that it has built-in prowess, and it says if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a creature an opponent controls, put that many -1/-1 counters on that creature. It's a very powerful effect. It's very strong. I think you definitely want that card over something like Get to Lava Runner. Like on turn 1, this thing's never having haste. And by the way, you don't have enough instant and sorcery cards in your deck to give it haste. Like how often are you gonna have 2 lightning bolts and 2 wizards lightnings? So this is not a Get to Lava Runner deck. And I think you can be a little bit more aggressive. I don't know what other fairies there are. Maybe this is okay. I want to say this is a good card. You should have a little bit more instants and sorceries to push through damage. So something like even Gut Shot, that you just instant speed, buff up the entire team by a large margin. I don't know what we gotta dump. Probably the Pyromancer is not that good, to be honest. There's no evasion here. It's not that important. Storm Chaser Mage is great. It's got evasion and has prowess. Siren Storm Tamer has evasion. Trickster doesn't really have evasion, but sometimes can give itself evasion. Harbinger of the Tides, maybe. Get to Lava Runner has to be replaced by Soulscar Mage. Fairy Seer has evasion. So we could remove Viashino Pyromancer and maybe some other creature to have more instants and sorceries to clear the way and buff up the entire team when you've got Adelise on the battlefield. And I don't know how good this thing is, but maybe you only play with 3 of them because it is legendary. So anyway, that's my feedback. Just staring at the list for the first time. Hope that's useful. If you ever go forward with this deck. All right, so let's go. And also, thanks for sharing. Mike the Mailman. I have a blue-white Thassa deck. I have a blue-white Thassa tempo deck for Pioneer. All right, Mike the Mailman. Let's check this out. I, too, once worked on a blue-white, well, tempo deck. Page not found. No, hold on. This is BS. I have it here. What's going on? No, I got it. Okay, I got it. Sorry if I gave you a heart attack. All right. Monster CC. Did you see M. Hayashi as the trophy leader? Yeah, I've known he's the trophy leader, but he's like playing all mono red decks. He's playing like a mono red prowess deck. All right, so we got Brazen Borrower, Cavalier of Gales. Enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. When Cavalier of Gales dies, shuffle it into its owner's library, then scry 2. It's a very expensive card. Charming Prince, not expensive. Elite Guard Mage. Gain 3 life and draw a card. Very expensive. Reflector Mage, not very expensive, but very good. Thassa Deep Dwelling. So this is like some blinking deck. Oh, but your curve is so high. Declaration in Stone, Castle Vantress. 3 Teferi Time Reveler. Azorius Charm, Opt. You've got to lower the curve. Your curve is so high. Like this is 2 mana. This is 5 mana. This is 4 mana. This is 4 mana. This is 4 mana. So I understand you want to blink things with Thassa. You got to have more stuff like Charming Prince in this deck. Like you have to have early game play. Pioneer's aggressively fast. Like just way too fast. You're going to have so many hands where you're just dead on turn 4 or you're going to be dead on turn 3 because your hand has just had so many 4-drops in it. Like maybe more Declaration in Stones or like what is it? There's some casket card. Sideboard Detention Sphere, Dovin's Veto, Lavinia the 10th. Like again, these are very expensive cards. Mystic Dispute, Rest in Peace, Spell Pierce. This is fine. Opt is fine. Azorius Charm is fine. Teferi Time Rattler is fine. We got to make a decision. I don't think Whirler Rogue is enough. Yeah, maybe Glass Casket is possible. Like the curve's got to come down. Or you need enough interaction early in the game to survive. And you've got like, I mean, you don't have nothing. You have Brazen Borrower, Declaration in Stone, and then you have Azorius Charm to put target attacking creatures back on top of its owner's library. How many lands do you have? You have 24 lands? This might be enough. I think the curve needs to come down a little bit. What is Cavalier? When it enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards and put 2 cards back on top of any order. So it's basically Brainstorm. When it dies, shuffle it into its owner's library and then scry 2. I think you can live without this card. It's not that great. I think you have enough value out of all these other cards. I mean, I know these other cards aren't literally drawing you cards. Whirler Rogue is fine. Enters the battlefield with 2 colorless Thopters. And I sort of like that as a blink target. Remember, Whitman, this is Pioneer. This is a Pioneer deck. Yeah, Thoughts and Reflector. I mean, I like that stuff. I just don't want a hand that's just full of Cavalier, Whirler Rogue, Thassa, Elite Guard Mage. Like this one's at a lower cost. I would say this is better than Cavalier of Gales by a huge margin because it costs 1 mana less. And it's effectively doing the same thing. And I would actually argue that gaining the life is more important. So I don't know what to take out, but if you play with this deck in Pioneer, you'll find that you're just getting raced like too much, and the deck is just really clunky. So I would say take out the Cavalier of Gales, and I don't know, have more interaction on earlier turns of the game. You have literally one thing to do on turn 1, which might not be too bad if you're like a really top-heavy deck. Maybe Harbinger of the Tides, but it's a situational card. I really like these. Well, you know what's also not too bad is maybe Exclusion Mage, but that's also a 3-drop. It's like a crappier version of Reflector Mage. But it's not. But it's a good blink target. Anyway, that's the only. I don't know what to replace it with. I don't mind the concept of what you're doing. Like it's a Thassa Deep Dwelling deck, and maybe you want to go all in on Thassa Deep Dwelling. You might want to have a 4th one of these because this deck almost depends on the synergy of this card, and you want this card as often as possible. And even if you have 2 of them in your hand, who cares? Because the idea is you keep blinking everything else and you get value out of it anyway. So I'd go up. This deck is so I wouldn't say all in, but the synergy is all based around Thassa so much that I would probably go up to 4 Thassas in a type of deck like this. Anyway, I hope that was useful. Hope that was some. Well, is there anything good? Maybe we can look. What is? How do I get back to Scryfall? Let's go. Let's do some digging. Why not? Okay, we need. How do I do this? We're looking for a creature, ideally. Colors can be blue, can be white. Does not have to be. I think it's at most these colors. CMC, let's say less than 3. What do we got? Less than 3. Legal, Pioneer. Okay, search with this. I think I used it correctly. So how many pages? We have too many things. Okay, how about we have enters the battle. We have the words enters the battlefield. Enters the battlefield. So we're looking for potential blink targets. All right, we have less. Okay. So these are energy creating cards. Offensa, whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield and you control bolster 1. Anointment Priest, whenever a creature token enters the battlefield, you gain 1. I don't think any of this is interesting. Augur of Bolus, but I don't know if you have enough instant and sorcerers to take advantage of that. Enters the battlefield, you may return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. That's interesting, but maybe not useful. Enters the battlefield, detain target creature an opponent controls. Until your next turn, that creature can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. That might be a potential card. That could be a potential card. No, we don't need zombies. Bishop of Wings enters the battlefield under your control. You gain 4 life. That could be a potential card. Whenever an angel you control dies, I don't know if we could use that aspect of it, but 2 mana, 1/4 wall that gains life could be a potential card. Charming Stray. It is charming, isn't it? Lifelink. I don't care. So we have Charming Prince. That is a good card. Corridor Monitor. Enters the battlefield, untap target artifact or creature you control. That's not useful. Gain 2 life for each whatever. It's not useful. Dauntless Bodyguard. Probably not useful. Daxos. Equal to your devotion to white. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, you gain 1 life. That might be useful. So Daxos is possible. Jubilee actually suggests Yorion. Well, I'm looking for stuff lower on the curve, but I get what you mean. It's possible. Like we could put that in the sideboard because it's a blinking deck anyway. This I don't think is useful. Deputy of Acquittals can return another target creature you already control back to your hand. Endless One, a Jealousy Mimic, not interesting. Fairy Duelist, not particularly good. I'm looking for good blinking cards. Maybe The Lost enters the battlefield and draw a card. And you can blank this every single turn. And like it's fine to like just play on the battlefield, draw a card, then just chump block something. Fogwalker enters the battlefield. Target creature an opponent controls doesn't untap during its controller next untap step. I think Glint Nest Crane doesn't work in your deck because you have no artifacts. Maybe Harbinger of the Tides, but this is like awkward. It's I can tell you from experience, Harbinger of the Tides is very situational. I don't think Hangerback Walker is that good because we're looking for cheaper cards. Because a lot of people, you know, like Lavinia, like the 10th, I think is like a 4-mana card, if I understand correctly. This is interesting. Flash and returns a creature back to your hand, but I don't think it's useful in this deck. Trickster is not a good blink target for Thassa, otherwise that would be a good card. Oh, Nyambi. When it enters the battlefield, you may return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, gain life equal to that creature's converted mana cost. Discard a legendary card, draw 2 cards. Can't tell if Nyambi is any good. Like, again, we don't want to be putting our cards back into our hand. Rattle Chains is useless. Next 60. I don't think Wall of Omens is legal. Silvergill Adept, you do not have enough merfolk to play. You can play that Flibba thing. Oh, maybe Thassa's Oracle? Thassa's Oracle is not terrible. So you can scry for your... you basically scry for the cards that you need with Thassa's Oracle. So actually, Thassa's Oracle doesn't seem like too bad of a card, but you don't draw a card off of it. Thing in the Ice, not very good. Tidebinder Mage is good, actually. I think Tidebinder Mage is good. But, well, in today's Pioneer environment, maybe not that good. Well of Runes. Watcher of the Spheres. Creature spells with flying you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever another creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, Watcher of the Spheres gets +1/+1 until end of turn. I don't think that's useful enough. So potential cards to include would be, I very legitimately think, would be Thassa's Oracle or that Philibba card. Because this is guaranteed value. You draw something. And the whole idea is just to get to a point where you can start like you can stabilize the game. That's the whole concept of this. Just get like slow the game down to a point where you like can take over with like Thassa's your Thassa. Now the advantage though with Thassa's Oracle is that you'll get devotion better. I think the idea maybe that you originally had with Cavalier of Gales is the devotion is good, which it is. It's very good devotion, but just very difficult to cast. I think it's difficult to cast anyhow. Maybe I'm full of shit, but like overall, if you want to play with Cavalier or Gales, you got to take out some of this other stuff because the curve is very high. The curve is very, very high. And my biggest concern is you're going to die to like Dimir Inverter or like the Breach deck or something very, very easily. And probably you need... I don't know what you need, but you need... Like a lot of people are playing with Damping Sphere against the Lotus Breach deck. But at the same time... you're a pretty slow deck, so I don't know if Damping Sphere would work very well. Dovin's Veto maybe works better, countering the appropriate spells. And they can't protect it. No, Unsummon's not that... I don't like Unsummon because it's card disadvantage. Like, first off, it's not going to help you all that much against any of the combo decks. And second off, it's card disadvantage. It's like just brutal card disadvantage. Oh, is there a problem with Philibba? when it enters the battlefield, if it entered from your library, you draw 2 cards, which I have no idea how that happens. I guess through collected company. But if it becomes the target of a spell, shuffle it into your owner's hand. Yeah, you can target it with Thassa's or the Thassa Deep Dwelling's ability, because it's ability, it's not a spell. That's an important rule interaction. Thassa Deep Dwelling says at the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 other target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. So you will get around it. Anyway, I hope that's some useful feedback, and good luck with the deck. So anyway, that's all I have for today for Coffee and MTG. Now, if I didn't get to your question or your deck list, don't worry. We do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. So if I didn't get to it today, I might get to it tomorrow. And don't forget, if you want to watch live, go check it out on twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. Oh, I don't think I mentioned my sponsors. So we're going to finish this off by saying, thanking our sponsor, themanabase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering, and also Mana Traders. Mana Traders, the premier place to rent cards online. And yes, you can support the channel by renting a subscription with the link in the description below, or you can sign up to Mana Traders with the coupon code Nikachu to get 20% off your first 3 months of renting with them. It's the best way to basically play anything you want, test out any of these decks without actually investing money to keep them. So it's like the best way to play test a lot of these wild new decks. So it's actually very good for anybody who's like really creative. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching, being here, being a part of the Magic, being part of the community, and giving your suggestions and feedbacks to all these decks, and having a great conversation about Magic the Gathering. So thank you very much again for everyone showing up. We do this every single day, and I love doing this every day. We have a lot of fun. So until then, I'll see you at the next cup. Take care now. Bye-bye.